Welcome back to Power Lunch. We're broadcasting live from the World Economic Forum on Africa at the CTICC in Cape Town. In the studio with me now is Chittaranjan Jena, who is the head of business for Africa for the Indian giant Mahindra. Jena, thanks very much for joining me. How important is Africa to you now? I mean, you're in so many countries. You've got 155,000 employees worldwide. 60 to 70% of your business comes in foreign exchange. Where does Africa rank?
Yes, definitely. Africa is a strategic continent for us. Though from a percentage-wise, it will not be a big significance. But definitely, if you look at it from a growth terms, it's definitely the highest in terms of growth. We are doubling our revenues every year in Africa. Coming
off quite a low base, though, I would imagine, compared to your other jurisdictions. That's why the growth rate is so high, because you've been relatively unrepresented, if you like.
No, not really. We have been here almost from 2004 onwards. And even the whole group, the Mahindra group, has been present here for a long time now. So I would say in all of these 8 years, we definitely have achieved a significant growth. And currently in Africa, we employ almost around 3,500 people, just from an IT perspective. And if you add onto that the farm equipments, the auto division, it will be more than another 500 employees also.
Yeah. When you go to your website and you put in Mahindra Africa, it comes up Mahindra South Africa, and it's mainly car dealerships. But throughout the continent, what is your main business?
No, definitely the car and farm equipment, continue to be the flagship business. People are not aware that we actually assemble Mahindra planes in South Africa here. We assemble it in a small facility out of Port Alfred, out of Port Elizabeth. And the IT, including the BPO, now has been a significant business for us. As I said earlier, we employ almost 3,500 people. That possibly, probably makes us one of the largest employer in BPO as well as IT in all over Africa. So from that perspective, we are quite a big force.
There was an advertisement just in the break just now about an agri-business in Dalba, and you were looking at it and you saw a tractor and you mentioned to me that's probably one of ours. And we were speaking to the previous guest from the IFC about the potential for agriculture in Africa. Is that something that you're going to be focusing on? Should the agricultural economy start to or continue to grow as it is?
No, the agriculture is already a big focus for us in Africa. In fact, we are the world's largest manufacturer of the tractors and also the farm equipments. And if you look at it, from a farm and agriculture perspective, we are actually active in almost 23 countries. And in fact, we have, if I'm not mistaken, around 5 assembly plants where we actually assemble our tractors and farm equipments. And in the entire value chain from, let's say, field to fork, except probably we don't own a fertilizer plant. Other than that, almost everything we own, and we also consult to a lot of government agencies in Africa, where they have a clear strategy in order to make agriculture and farming as a critical contributor to their GDP.
It seems to me that the relationship between India and South Africa and the African continent is growing, and it's growing every single year. Do you think that will continue?
Yes, it is definitely going to continue. I think I was attending the BRICS summit, and I was really surprised by, I think, some statistics thrown up that everybody assumes that with South Africa, China will be automatically the biggest trading partner. Looked like India was actually the biggest trading partner with possibly 1 or 1.5 percentage point more than the Chinese do the business. That in terms of foreign direct trade or export import or so. And if you even look at beyond the borders of South Africa in Africa, likes of Tanzania or between with Nigeria or Ethiopia or so, if you look at the non-oil transactions, that's where probably definitely India scores the beyond the Chinese. If we take Chinese as automatic biggest investor in Africa.
Yes, we have made those assumptions, and as you quite rightly say, it's not always the correct assumption to make. There's a lot of optimism around Africa at the moment. There's a lot of talk of promise and delivering on promises. That's the theme of the World Economic Forum. In your time that you've been doing business in South Africa and Africa, have you seen that optimism grow, and is it justified, do you think?
Yes, it's absolutely justified. And just to say, from an Indian perspective, I just coined a word which is called GSM. It's nothing to do with the GSM network. What we call the Guju, the Sindhi, and the Marwadis. These are the three big business community that drives business in India. And if you look at in Africa, this community is very well represented. You know, the West is for the S, the last one M is for the East, and somewhere in the middle the other community fits in. So from an Indian perspective, we definitely see optimism, or sometimes I should say it's too much optimism, and given that the Indian companies have the aspiration to become transnational or multinationals, they see Africa as an automatic destination in order to expand for their transnational or globalization dreams.
What potential threats do you think there are? Because we're talking about optimism all the time, but we have to temper that optimism occasionally by saying, yes, but we must do this and this must be corrected. What have you come up against when you've done business on the continent?
I think I would say that I would like to answer your question in terms of a strategic advantage for Indians. For Indian business, I think to a large extent the success in Africa is going to be any business which can actually bring in technology in terms of manpower or the skills to Africa. Capital maybe may not be a differentiator, because the capital market being too transparent, or so anybody wanting to bring in $1 billion or something like that can organize it in the world capital market. But when it comes to bringing in or the transferring the skills or the movement of the people from that country to here, that's where India scores, because it is a potential huge source of skilled manpower which is willing to come and work in Africa. So that is why I said that we are definitely over optimistic about the chances of Indian business in Africa.
Please stay being optimistic and please stay doing business here, because we need companies like yours. Thanks very much for your time. That's Chittaranjan Jena,
Thank you so much.
who's the business head of Africa at the Indian giant Mahindra.